my lovelies, and welcome to another video on my channel. Thank you very much for joining me today as always. This video is going to be about creating this mani here. So this is my mani for Easter 2023, and yeah, I was actually quite pleased how this turned out. It's not exactly how I started this mani. My actual intention was to stamp. I have an Easter stamping plate that I wanted to use, and in fact I did use it, but then I decided that I didn't like it. Stamping and everything went fine. I just decided I didn't like the design. I don't know, maybe it was because it was over this polish. I'm not sure. I just didn't like the look of it. Anyway, I've cut that out of the video, but I just wanted to mention it to you in case you see me with funny colors on my skin or something like that. I didn't get carried away with gel polish. It was in fact stamping polish that I later removed because I changed my mind. So there we go. In terms of what you will need for this mani, you will need some sort of base coat. I've been trialing this opaque nude from NSI, the rubber base, absolutely loving it. There is a video that's coming up. If you've been following my channel, I have been working on a review of this, and that will be up in the next few days. I just wanted to publish this one first, given that Easter is less than a week away. Can't believe it. I also used a bit of a clear base coat just to clean my brushes in between colors because I've been using some standalone brushes today. You will also need your top coat, and you will need a matte top coat. You'll see why I use that during the design, even though they do end up nice and shiny. So I've also got, in terms of the colors I used 2 palettes from NSI. Let me open these for you. So the colors were from palette number 3, the solid gels. And I used, what did I use? So this is that salmon-y color. That's a beautiful color. I love that one. This sort of taupey color is at the back right. I also used this lilac-y color. And then the green is this beautiful pastel green on the left. So that was the palette that my colors came from. The black and sort of gold dotty over, what would you call it, gel overlay, oh sorry, that's Daisy coming in and flapping her head like a lunatic, is this one here from also the solid gel palettes. This is palette number 2, so that's where they came from. I think that's all my NSI products. You can get 10% off your first order from NSI Australia with my code ZoeH_NSI, which I will also put at the top of the screen. Everything else was from somewhere else. You will need a fluffy brush of some description. You need a soft brush for this. We actually use that just to clean up once we've done the chrome, so make sure it is soft because you don't want a really firm brush to put scratches or dents in your chrome. In terms of the chrome, I actually use these 2. These are new products for me. These are my gosh, I can't speak today. Sorry, everyone. These are from Glitz Nails Australia. Oh my goodness, these are absolutely beautiful. I use the pink. So the pink I use for the flower on my thumb, and the gold I use for everything else. These are absolutely beautiful. They come in their own little resealable pouch, as you can see, and they both come with a brush, or they all come with a brush as well. And the powder itself, sorry, I just put cream on my hands. Never a smart idea when you're trying to open things. It's absolutely beautiful. It is just so stunning. This is a design, the leaves with the chrome on is inspiration from Dorota Politska. If you don't follow her, oh my goodness, she is amazing. She's the most amazing nail artist. She's absolutely beautiful, and I've been wanting to try this for a long time, and I just hadn't got to it. And when my stamping was just a bit of a fail, I thought, great time to try it. And I really hope you like it, because I have a feeling you're going to be seeing a lot more of this, because I just love the way that it looks. It just looks amazing. Anyway, enough babbling. I also used dotting tools. Honestly, can't remember which size I used, but anyway, you will need a dotting tool of some description. If you don't have dotting tools, you could use a brush, a very fine pointed brush, or you could use a toothpick or something like that. I used 2 application brushes. This one I save specifically for glitter polishes. Once you use a brush for glitter polishes, my goodness, you are never getting it out. So I suggest, if you can, have a brush specifically for glitters. This is the Madam Glam application brush, which I used for the colors. And this is the Madam Glam long fine liner that I used to do the leaves. This brush is the first time I've used this brush, actually. I bought it a while ago. It's the first time I've used it, because normally I do slightly thicker lines. This was fantastic, absolutely brilliant. So you will need, if you want to do a design like this, as I learnt yesterday, you will need the finest possible brush that you can find. So whatever really fine brush you have in your collection, grab that one. That's the one you want to use. And oh yes, black gel paint was the other thing that I used. So I've got the Madam Glam one, and this is what you use to draw on the design before you chrome it. This is tack free, so once this cures, there is no inhibition layer, so that's why it is so good for chromes. You can also use a non-wipe top coat to apply your chromes as well, but the black, I just discovered, well, not discovered, the black will give you a much more vibrant finish than what the top coat would, because the top coat, of course, is clear. So the black underneath really makes the chrome pop, even if you're using the pink. Whatever color chrome you have, black underneath, I think is the way to go. So anyway, I think that is everything that I used. If I find anything else while I'm editing the main video that I forgot to mention, then I will mention it at the time. So thank you for watching, and let's get into it. So I'm just coming in first with my green. A bit of a random selection, starting on my ring finger. I normally start on my little finger and work towards the thumb, but because I'm just using the one application brush for multiple colors, I just finished applying the green on my right hand. So I just continue to save me cleaning my brush, that's all. Not that it would have made much difference, a couple of seconds, but seeing as I'd just finished with the green, it made sense to start with the green. So normally I am quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Quite regular in the way that I do my nails. I start from the little finger and I work towards the thumb. But in a situation where I'm using the one brush for multiple colors, then I just tend to go with the last color that I used. And you can tell I haven't done a nail art video for a while. I don't normally include footage of me doing my thumb, mainly because it's my I almost always do my thumb to match the design on my ring finger. So if you've seen what I've done on my ring finger, then you've basically seen what I've done on my thumb. I think with this one, because of the brush, I included the footage with my thumb. So let me know what your preference is. Obviously, if I exclude the thumb, then the video is going to be that little bit shorter, but then you don't see me doing all 5 nails. So let me know your preference. Either include it and have a slightly longer video, or shorter video, and I will leave the footage out next time. Oh my goodness, it's only been a couple of weeks. It just doesn't take long to start feeling rusty. So here I'm just going in with my cleanup brush. This is just something I like to do, whether I need to do it or not. It's almost become habit, but it really does give you a lovely finish to the cuticle area of your nails. So some brushes, depending on the shape of the brush, you can end up with just a slightly jagged, not super smooth area around your cuticle. Now you can get around that by swiping your brush sideways and doing your cuticle area in the sweep. That's just not my preferred method. You can do that and it looks absolutely fine, and then you just bring the polish forward as you would to give that nice forward motion, but it's just not my preference. I would rather just go in with a cleanup brush and just give it that lovely smooth rounded edge at the cuticle area. This is that lovely salmon color. Oh my goodness, this is my favorite color in this palette to apply. It's so creamy, and it's very, very pigmented. It's a lovely color. And as always, don't forget to cap your free edge. Always gives you a nice professional looking finish to your nails, and also gives you a little bit of extra strength, and yeah, prevents a little bit of tip wear of your polish. So just gives you a nice finish. I'm just going in and smoothing that out. Yeah, lovely color, that one. I really do like it. And then I'm going to go in with, which color's next? I think I do my lilac one next, which goes on the middle finger. This was a really pretty color as well, a bit more translucent than the others. This one is definitely a lighter, yeah, more translucent color to apply. So you can either put it on a little bit more thickly, which I go back and get a little bit more polish, or just do an extra layer, either or. Either way, I never apply my gel polish thickly anyway, so that's why I almost always go in with a second coat. It's very rare for me to do a single coat of any gel polish. I just think that second coat just gives you a little extra depth of color, and it just really just seals off that beautiful flawless look, which is really nice. And then you just make sure that you've got the gel nicely applied across the whole nail as well. So it's unusual for me to do a handful of pastels, but I thought, being Easter, it always seems to be the most appropriate color story to be using. So that's where this palette was actually really great. It had all the colors that I wanted, except for the topper coat, which you'll see me come in with in just a moment to give me that. What are they? Those little mini Easter egg wrappers. They have the sort of black and goldy dots on them. So yes, but otherwise all of the colors that I used came from the one palette, which was very nice and convenient. So that was handy. This color actually isn't too dissimilar to my rubber base that I have. The rubber base is a little bit more pinky. This is a little bit more tan or taupey color, but it's a very pretty color. It's a lovely nude color. So if you're into very light nudie colors on your nails, then this is a really nice one to use. Great for offices and that kind of thing. It's not going to offend anybody, this color. Very neutral, but very pretty. Here I'm just going in, oh, I think I forgot to mention my detailer brush in my intro. So I'm just going in with my detailer brush along my thumbs. My thumbs are a slightly funny shape. I think most people have really odd thumbs, don't they? They seem to be the most obscure nail. So yes, they're just a bit of a funny shape along the side wall. So I've just gone in with my detailer brush just to finish that off. And because this was the last color that I used, once I've done my curing, I go in. So I'm onto my second coat at this point. When my nails just disappeared off there, I went in for a 60-second cure. So the solid gels are a 60 seconds in an LED lamp. So they've gone in for their first cure, and because I used this color last, then that's the first color that I'm going to go in with. So yes, my routine goes completely out the window when I've got a single brush that I'm using for multiple colors. I just try and do the order in the way that I'm minimizing the number of changes I have and brush cleanings I need to do. And here's that lovely purpley color, that lilac-y color. It's really pretty. It's a really lovely, almost lilac-y gray shade. Very pretty. Nice, goes with just about everything, so that was really nice. And that second coat really did make that color pop. It was perfect. It was opaque after the second coat, so that was easy enough. 2 coats did the job on that one. So that's another thing. When I do my videos, I have included me doing my second coat. Not necessarily essential. Maybe if you've just seen me do it once, then that's enough. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts. Obviously it makes the video a little bit longer if you see me do both coats. So yeah, let me know what you think. That would be great. And then I'm just going in with my second layer of my salmony color. And again, that just gives it a lovely, yeah, really nice finish as well. So I really liked these 4 colors together. I thought they complemented each other really nicely. They had a nice bit of color, but they were still pastel, still quite appropriate for Easter time, I felt, but still giving a nice little subtle pop of color, if there is such a thing. And this green, I really do love this green. This is such a pretty shade of green. I actually had walls like this in my last house in that kind of color. Very pretty, very easy to live with color. Very nice. And then I go in and do my thumb in that same color. So yes, I either do my thumb to match my ring finger or my little finger. Usually my ring finger. I think it just ties in the design and the colors very nicely. It's very rare that I do something completely unique on my thumb. think it just sort of ties in the design all together. And this was a funny money because I did change my mind. This took me so much longer than it needed to. Not because the design I end up doing is difficult by any means, but simply because I just changed my mind. I set out to do stamping and everything went fine with the stamping. Everything stamped fine. I just didn't really like the look of it in the end, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe I just didn't really like the designs on the plate. They weren't that exciting. I'm not really sure what it was. Maybe it just looked a bit busy with the topper on the colours. I'm not really sure. But either way, I wasn't very happy with it. So I just scratched that completely and ended up going in trying this design, which, oh, I'm so glad that I did. I'm so pleased with the way that turned out. The gold chrome just looks amazing. So does the pink chrome for that matter. It just looks lovely. Very pretty. So yes, anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm still on my colour at this stage, just doing a little bit of rounding off of my cuticle area and side walls just to give it that lovely flushed finish. And then that is going to go in the lamp for 60 seconds. So here we're coming in. This is the solid gel palette number 2. And I'm just going to grab the one gel from this, which is the topper that I use, which is that black, white and gold flecks and dots. So I did apply this in a fairly random manner, mainly because polishes like this that have little pieces in them, they never apply very evenly to your nail because you're just picking them up, laying them down, and of course as you're dragging your brush down your nail, you're moving the particles with you. So it's very difficult for the gel to apply, or the pieces to apply evenly. So basically what you just need to do is lay down your gel as you're seeing me do here, and then move those pieces around wherever you want them. So that's going to apply where you've got glitter pieces here. I'm not even sure what you call these. They're not glitter, they're just little pieces of black and gold. It's not quite gold leaf, but it's just gold flecks and a bit of white as well. And I'm just moving them around the nail where I want them to be, not necessarily so that they're even, but just so that there's just a little bit of dispersion, and it just sort of, the nail just looks a bit uniform and just nicely spaced. Not necessarily evenly spaced, but nicely spaced, if that makes sense. So I was going for that, I think I mentioned before, that little mini egg wrapper look that seems to be what everyone's associating with Easter these days, which is true. It does kind of have that look about it. So, and my plan was to have this as my base for my stamping, which just didn't end up happening. I ended up using it as a base for the chrome instead. So my plan was I was going to stamp a few images of flowers and bunnies with a few Easter eggs in there, but I think probably because of the size of the images on my stamping plate, I think that's what it is. And of course I've got shorty bums nails at the moment, so I cut them all back, must have been, what, 4 or 5 weeks ago now, something like that. And I'm just keeping them short for a little while until this novelty wears off and I grow them longer again. I always do this a couple of times a year. So here I'm going in with my matte top coat. And the reason I'm doing this is because that topper gel, because you end up moving the pieces around your nail, ends up being slightly uneven on the nail. That's probably the word for it. It's not rough and bumpy, but it's just not super level. And yeah, because I wanted to do some stamping, you need a very flat level surface for stamping, and this topper gel just doesn't really give you that. Most polishes with pieces in them will not give you that. So if you need that smooth surface, then all you need to do is come in with a layer of matte top coat and then do a light buff. If you don't have matte top coat, that is no big deal at all. You can use a shiny top coat, that's absolutely fine. Just be aware that when you do your buffing, you're probably going to need to buff more, and you're going to need to make sure that you buff the entire surface of the nail so that there are no shiny places left on your nail. The benefit of using the matte is, of course, it's matte. Your nail's not shiny anyway. So it doesn't really matter if you've got the odd spot that doesn't get buffed. It's no big deal. Your next layer is still going to adhere to it. So that's the only reason I specifically use matte top coat. If you don't have a matte top coat, don't worry, use a normal shiny. Just make sure that when you do this buffing step that you get rid of all of that shine. But of course you want a light hand because the layer of top coat that I used was not super thick. So I'm just very lightly buffing just to smooth out that surface. And it does give it a nicer look, besides it being better to stamp on, which I did briefly. It does give you a nicer look, so the nail looks smoother all around. So it's a good step. It's a handy tip to remember if you're using glitters or other types of gel polishes with pieces in them, other toppers basically. Then this can be a handy step. Just make sure that you put something down first. You could have even used base coat for this. It didn't even have to be a top coat. So you could equally have used base coat and then remove the inhibition layer and then done your buffing. So in that case, also that'd be the equivalent of using a matte top coat. You wouldn't need to worry too much about making sure you buff every square millimeter of your nail. So base coat's another good option, or any clear gel. If you've got a clear builder gel, would do the same thing. So there I'm just making sure everything's fine. I'm coming in with my plush brush, which is a really nice brush for getting rid of the dust. Here I'm just spraying a little bit of isopropyl alcohol just to give them a bit of a clean as well as a dust. So that works really well with the plush brush, just gets rid of all the bits of dust. And so there you can see the remnants of my stamping. That's stamping polish on that mat, by the way. That's not me being really messy with my gel polish. I just removed the whole thing. I just really didn't like the look of it, and I decided to come in instead with this design. And I tried, being quite honest, I had tried this with a thicker brush. I tried this with a striping brush, and it really just was not working for me at all, which is why at this point the first thing you see me do is actually draw in the flower rather than the stems and the leaves, because I was really struggling with getting that to look nice until I realized that, you know, like Einstein said, just doing the same thing the same way is first sign of insanity, and I thought I need to mix something up. So I tried a smaller brush. And I went in with this really fine brush, and it made all the difference in the world. But I hadn't tried that at this point. I just decided to do flowers instead. But then I get a bit brave when I start doing my index finger, because I decided that I was going to persevere until I got the hang of it. And yeah, then from then on it was fine. And I actually do come back and do a stem on this nail afterwards as well. So that was black gel polish. If I can stop babbling for 5 seconds, that was the black gel paint, not polish. And then that goes in the lamp for a 60-second cure, and then you can come in with your chrome and just the applicator brush that came with it, which is basically an eyeshadow application brush. You can also use your finger. I've seen people do that as well. I've also seen people use a silicone tool. So I think pretty much anything that has a fairly firm grip will be absolutely fine. And you just rub that into the design that you've done with the gel paint. You could also use tack-free top coat instead of gel paint if you wanted to. I just like to use the black because it makes the chrome pop. The chrome that you put on top will be that much bolder and brighter when you've got a black base underneath. And then I'm just going in with the center of the flower. I've just done an additional dot.
Shut up,
Doobie!
Doobie!
And I've done that in gold. And then, yes, I decided that the plush brush probably would have been fine, but I thought I'll use something even softer. So I went in with that black dust brush, which is just the most gentle brush in the world. That's not going to scratch anything. So I replaced my plush brush with that at that point. And this is where I'm coming in and doing the stems and leaf design. So this is the first time I've actually tried this design. As I said, I did try it with a striper brush. That was a bad idea. The brush was just too thick. I could not get it to look nice. And I must have tried literally a dozen times. I have deleted so much footage from this video. But you live and learn, and I just thought, okay, the thinnest brush I've got, which is this one I have here, and then it just worked. It just came together. As always, you need to have the right tools for the job. So if you're going to give this a go, then just use the thinnest brush that you've got. And it all came together very nicely from that point. Because you're using gel paint, you really don't need to worry about your design running. Gel paint is much thicker than a gel polish, it does not run. So it will stay exactly where you place it. The only thing that you've got to worry about is just to make sure that you don't knock it and damage that design before you put it in the lamp. Which, as you can see, I was worried about, which is why I just did one nail at a time. Now that I've got the hang of it a little bit more, I probably wouldn't do that. I would do however many nails all at once and just try and be a bit careful. But I think because I'd had a few issues this day and I'd done so many things that I wasn't happy with, I was just like, right, I'm happy with that. Quick, get it in the lamp. So yes, that was why I did that individually. And I go in and I basically do the same thing on my ring finger, but I have the stem and the leaves facing the other way. So that basically the design on the two nails is facing each other. So I just really like this look. I think it gives it's very subtle, this chrome, especially when you've got the topper I've got underneath it, which has already got a little bit of gold fleck, the black and the white. So it just ends up being this subtle design over it, which I thought was really pretty. And of course it's sort of a leaf design, which is always very nice. Not overly Eastery, but I really wasn't happy with my Easter stamping. And doing a really cute little bunny is probably beyond my freehand skills. So I wasn't really going there yesterday when I was doing this design, but I went in with this design instead. So, and I was very happy with it. I think I mentioned in my introduction, but the inspiration here is from Dorota Politska, who is an amazing nail artist. I will put her channel or a link to her channel in the description box below, along with links to all of the products that I used here, all of which were amazing. But I do recommend following her. She is amazing. Most of her designs are beyond my freehand skills for sure, but I could watch her for hours. She just does the most amazing work. And this is something that I have seen on her channel. It is a favorite for her, and I can absolutely see why. It's yeah, it's lovely. And I was feeling bold at this point. I'd had successes on two nails, woohoo! So I got very brave because I haven't top coated this nail yet, and I just came in and decided to do a stem and some leaves for the flower. I was very careful up near the flower because I didn't want to risk getting the gel paint on top of my chrome, but I was feeling emboldened from everything that was working well after my stamping. So I decided to go in with that. And I'm really glad I did because it looked, yeah, it just sort of finished off the nail nicely and of course matched in with the other two nails on that hand. And then I just went in and I repeated all of this on my right hand. I normally do designs first on my right hand. The exception to that is stamping or glitter if I'm using loose glitter. Because it's so messy, I always save the messy stuff for last. Normally I would have finished my right hand before I even start my left hand. But yeah, when it comes to stamping and loose glitters, that's the exception when I do the two together. And then I've just gone in and I decided to use the gold chrome for the stem. And that's how it looks like, what it looks like not top coated. And of course, because I've got chrome, I go in with my glossy top coat. You know, I'm a fan of glossy top coat anyway. You could have used matte top coat for this. I just feel that probably the chrome wouldn't be quite so, what's the word? Yeah, so vibrant if it had a matte top coat over it. So yes, this is my favorite NSI top coat, which I really do like, and I love the brush on this one. As I think I've mentioned before, it just fits into that cuticle area really, really nicely. I didn't go in with a base coat first. I don't really feel like I'll need it with the chrome. Sometimes I will do that. If I'd done the whole nail in chrome, I would absolutely have gone in with the base coat before the top coat. I also would have gone into the free edge with a file just to rough up the free edge as well. So if you put chrome over an entire nail, you can have problems with it peeling. Actually, what happens is the top coat peels. Because the chrome is a slippery surface, directly underneath that you've got a tack-free top coat, which is also a non-grippy surface. Then you can have trouble with your top coat adhering directly onto chrome. So it can help just to roughen up your free edge a little bit, apply a layer of base coat. I've also seen people apply primer to the edges of the nail. You can try that too before you go in with your final layer of top coat. But my entire nail wasn't covered in chrome, it was just the design. So I think a single layer of top coat will do the job, and I guess I will find out over the next week or two. But I don't have any issues with stamping with this top coat, so I think this will be the same. And this is the end product. I hope you've all enjoyed this video. I hope you all have a lovely Easter. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.